Hi, everybody. Danielle with Thrive here. I am back for our Friday Facebook Live events, and I'm so excited about this one. We are in like the playroom here in our PT area, and Lisa is here, and she is our senior physical therapist, and she is going to show us some ways that we can incorporate PT techniques into our busy days. So, Lisa, take it away. Have some fun.
Hey everybody, I'm Lisa. Thanks for inviting me here, Danielle, today, because I'm looking forward to sharing some things that I've learned throughout the years, mostly I'm a mother first, I'm a grandmother first, and then I'm a therapist. But I've been a therapist for almost 40 years and have had the blessing of working with babies that were born in our NICU and have followed them way up until adulthood with some of my young adults. But after being a busy mom first and a busy grandma first, and needing to share with families how to do some exercises and do some activities for kids to build strength. But how the heck do you put it into a busy day? And that's what we wanted to talk to today, okay? Because I really tend to be real with this stuff. You know, I have a list of 10 things I want to see if parents can do, and saying to them, but I'm working, and my husband's working, and my kids go to school, and what do I do? How can I really get some strengthening in? So some of the literature talks about different techniques of strengthening and different ways of introducing activities and certain therapies that really show results. And if I do this therapy and plus this therapy and plus this therapy, I'm going to get results maybe of increasing strength and increasing my child's ability to function in some respect. Evidence shows that whatever therapy you do, okay, if you do it functionally within your day and consistently, you will see change. Okay, so that's what I'm basing my whole little lecture on today, called Therapeutic Play. How do I put therapeutic play into your very busy day in order to achieve some of your goals? Okay, so when we first look at development with any child, whether they be a newborn, whether I receive a new client that is 10 years old, 5 years old, a teenager, as a therapist, I have to look together with the family and to say to the family, what is your goal? What do you want to work on? What is our main thing? Okay. So I need to look at that whole picture, and I need to then look at the dynamics of the family at home. And I need to say, okay, what are we working on? All right, and I'm going to give an example. I am working on little Allison, who's going to be my child here today.
Absolutely.
And I want to see if I can get Allison to walk a little bit with a more improved gait pattern, a little bit more stable gait pattern. She may trip a lot during the day. She may work on different activities, and she comes in for therapy, and her doctor prescribes physical therapy for basically strengthening and to see if I can increase her gross motor skill ability and stability. I'm going to use Allison as an example, okay? So no matter what the reason is that you're referred for therapy, 99.9% of the time, I can say to you, the strengthening has to do with some sort of weakness or deficit at the trunk. Okay, trunk meaning head, neck, arms, the shoulder complex, mid-trunk, and pelvis. Okay, so 99% of the time, when in doubt, let's strengthen a trunk. Okay, so how can I sit there and say, what can I do about strengthening my trunk? How can I do this? Because my child goes to school every day. I go to work every day. We come home. We've got ballet. We've got this. What can I do? Well, I know that everybody has a child that we need maybe some assistance with dressing. The child has to get dressed up in the morning. The child has to bathe at night or in the morning. Okay. The child usually goes and plays outside, and the child usually has to be assisted to get into bed or facilitate to get into bed. So I'm going to use those main areas of activities that you typically have to do during the day with your child anyway, and see if we can combine some therapeutic play while you're doing those functional activities of dressing, bathing, playing, and going to bed. Okay? So I'm going to start by dressing. So my little friend Allison here, okay, I'm going to say she's going to be ready for getting on the bus, okay, for school. And I'm going to say, Allison, let me help you with your coat. All right. So we're going to stand up. So maybe we're going to stand up. And while Allison is going to get maybe her boots on or her jacket on, I'm going to say to her, put your hands on my shoulders, okay? And mommy wants you to stand on one foot, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good girl. Okay, other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Okay, Allison, stand on just your right leg. And I'm going to get your coat on. Here we go. And now stand on your left leg. Here we go. Good job. Now give me 10 jumps in a row. 10 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Now, sometimes this will go more into OT, but then sometimes we can work on our little zippers. Mommy starts and you finish. Awesome. Terrific. And there's my dressing. And so I've just done a couple little single leg balances. I've done a couple little jumping in place and such. Okay. To vary it, I can jump in place and I can sit there and say, okay, mommy wants you to jump backwards. Okay. Then mommy wants you to jump forward. And mommy wants you to jump to the side. And mommy wants you to jump to the other side. Okay. So vary it, variation. Do single leg balance, can do hopping. Again, this is all different, incorporating different abilities that your child does have. Okay. But some of the children who may have a little greater difficulty doing that, and some of the children who maybe are not standing up on their own, I can go back and I can say, just hold on to my shoulders, okay? And then we're going to lift up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, good. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and provide her stability. When in doubt, not knowing where to provide the stability, do at some point of the shoulders or the pelvis, okay? And then I can ask her again, single leg balance, and again, single leg balance. Okay, and so you just got her coat on, added an extra minute, and there's an activity for you. Okay? Now, if I talk about bathing and a child, again, all different abilities with children, but in general, and we're going to talk about the younger child, the baby, the younger child, okay? It might be a nice time to just work on a little bit of body awareness type thing, okay? So if the child's in a bath seat, if we're talking about an infant, okay, and you're there with the child, and you've got bath toys, you've got terry cloth, washcloths, okay, the child can be there, and you can take the little foot of the child, and you can rub the foot with the washcloth, rub the little knee with the washcloth, incorporate a song, and just say, where's your feet? Here's your feet, and then rub the knee, rub into the hip, and then go to the other foot. Here's your right foot. Here's your left foot, okay? If you can then go into the hands, you can go into the elbows, you can go into the shoulders, okay? And you spend just, and I often say with some of my moms, they'll say, well, how long should I do things? I love to incorporate the natural way of doing some of these activities. I usually say by the time you're done singing a nursery rhyme, you're done with the exercise. So going back to Allison, if she was doing a single leg balance, by the time I say my ABCs, I'm done with the exercise. By the time I say my ABCs, she's done the single leg balancing. And so that's a natural way as compared to say, wait, did she say 5 times or 10 times? Just do a song. When you're done with the song, you're done with the exercise. So here's our baby again in the bath. I'm just doing a little bit of massage with the terry cloth, basic body awareness. Here's my feet. Bring the feet toward the mouth, feet toward the hands, and you're just rubbing gently with the terry cloth. For how long? For the tune of a nursery rhyme, for each limb, I would say. Okay? It's a great time too, after bathing, you're wrapping the baby in a towel, you're placing the baby on the changing table for drying the baby off and such, putting the diaper on. It's a wonderful time for visual contact. Never minimize that visual contact. So here I am, I will maybe put soft music on, and maybe sometimes it's kind of a cool thing if I choose the same piece of music each time. So bath time, whether it be Sesame Street bath time or just some gentle, quiet music, and do it each time. Great idea. My friend Allison is the best person in the world. So here I am. You are the best. She's so happy about being her. So we should go on the road, Allison. So anyway, so here's my baby, okay? And she's on the changing table, okay? and she's got a little blankie on, okay, a towel on. And this is a wonderful time for just that eye contact. The eyes are the window to the brain. The eyes are the window to the brain. I can't say that enough, okay? So here I am holding the baby in what we call a midline position, hands toward the middle, feet toward the middle. The baby had just come out of the bath. I had just done a little rubbing with the terry cloth, and now we've got the towel and we're drying the baby, and I'm continuing to sing my nursery rhymes, but I am looking at those eyes, and I am not taking away those eyes. And that cell phone might be ringing, okay? And that if we can possibly get this time period, again, a couple of nursery rhymes, okay? That's all it takes, and really look at that visual focusing, okay? So bath time's a wonderful time for that, to incorporate that, all right? So then we're looking at playing outside. Let's go back to the older child now, okay? If I talking about the child who possibly I want to see if I can get a little bit more balance and dynamic right side, left side kind of activities, gross motor skills, getting them just a little bit tighter, a little bit more efficient, a little less clumsy. Again, I'm going to talk about core. How can I strengthen that core? Okay. So if I'm outside, I'll often tell parents, if you have like a little net bag that you can fill with different size balls and put them in your trunk. So put 6, 7 different type size balls, put them in your trunk in a net bag, throw them in your trunk, keep them there, okay? Because again, functionally, sometimes you don't have a specific time that you're going to the park. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes on the way home, I don't know about you guys, but I babysit my grandchildren. And sometimes on the way home of picking up one of my little muffins from the bus, I'll sit there and say, hey, there's the park. You want to just go? And even I grab 15 minutes at the park, okay? But I have my balls here. So, oh, geez, I don't have anything with me. Bring a little blanket and balls, leave it in the trunk, okay? And we'll sit there, we'll go to the park. I'll take these 6 or 7 balls, I'll throw them out on a grassy hill, okay? And I can sit there and I can say, okay, let's go pick them up. Bend down, pick them up. Great, now throw. Boom, okay? Bend down, pick them up. Good job, squatting and throw, all right? So all different size balls, all different thicknesses. I have to bend up. I can sit there and be on the other side. I'll lift it all the way up over your head, all the way up your head. Now throw it further. Throw it further. And then another time, do it with rotation, really turning. Because again, that's more core. Okay? So utilizing the balls and such. Another thing is once I go and throw, I can then throw at a target, visual motor. So I can sit there and say, okay, here's a bucket, let's take it and throw into the bucket. Okay, so there's your visual motor. So I can take any simple activity and make it a little bit more complex to work on different things. If you're working on balance, you're working on visual motor, if you're working on core, okay? Look at the surface for where the balls are, okay? Some of my parks near my house are very hilly. That can be a good thing, it cannot be a good thing. So it depends upon what you're looking at. But if you throw the 6 balls, 7 balls up on a grassy hill, we've got to walk up the hill. That's core, okay? We've got to balance to bend down because I'm on a hill. That's dynamic balance and core, and do it that way. So look at the surface for what you're working on too, because that'll affect you too. Some of the playgrounds have railroad ties, okay? So railroad ties are a wonderful balance beam, okay? My one little granddaughter, Lisa, we work on kind of sit there and say, how many times can you walk the balance beam without falling off? And we time, things like that. Even the little ones, you can take their 2 little hands and work like so, working on the railroad ties, all right? Stepping up the railroad ties, stepping down the railroad ties, again, is all core strengthening. And I want to say again, anything you do in repetition, putting into your functional day, you're going to make a change as compared to the therapist giving you, here are these 10 exercises and go to it. And I don't know about you, I'm the one, I believe in therapy. It's what I do. I've spent my career with it. If it doesn't fit your functional day, it won't get done. Okay, I've had my own children who've needed therapy throughout their times. If it doesn't fit in my functional day, I didn't get it done. Okay, and that's why I've come up with some of these things. Okay. the last thing I want to talk to you about is going to bed. So if everybody has a hallway, okay, a hallway is kind of like a neat way of incorporating like a distance to go toward the bed. And we can sit there and say, okay, we're going to walk forward down the hallway. Okay, now I'm going to chase you. We're going to run to the hallway. We're going to walk backwards to the hallway. We're going to do sidestepping to the hallway. We're going to pick an animal, okay? And we're going to say, what animal do you want to be? I want to be a bunny. Okay, then we're going to hop like a bunny, okay, to my bedroom. Okay, now we're going to hop backwards like a bunny to my bedroom. Okay, I want to be a bear. Okay, we're going to do bear walk. This is not going to be pretty, everybody. I'm going to do like a bear walking to my bedroom. Okay, so it just depends upon, make a game of it, make it fun, but you know you got to get them to bed. You know you got to get them to do that. Start 5 minutes earlier. Do a little bit of in through there, okay, for dynamic exercise. And a lot of people may say, great, I'm trying to get them sleepy. You're rallying them up. Finish it with a little deep breathing, okay? Sitting at the edge of the bed, deep breathing, take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and a little bit of a story, and then do your bedtime routine. So that is sort of what I was going to say in a nutshell. I didn't know if there were any other questions and such, and we can take it from there.
Wow, awesome. You are like super grandma, first of all. Let's see if we have any questions. If you guys have any questions, throw them in, or Erin, if you see any that I don't see, throw them or scream them out. I have a question. So my question is, I have heard so much negative things about the W-sit. Can you tell us a little bit about, they all, can you tell us what the W-sit and what it is?
Okay, so W-sit, I unfortunately cannot do it, but
I can do it.
Go like this, and well, I guess I can do it, like this, okay? And your pulley is down toward the floor, but you can see how excessive rotation of your hips and your knees occur during this, okay? So orthopedically, it's very stressful on the joints, okay? But most children who do it are incredibly flexible, so, they tolerate it well. But it goes back to when I am sitting like this, my core is literally hanging out. I am not activating my core at all, okay? And I'm hanging. I'm a gravity. We basically are human beings that are constantly battling forces against gravity. So when we're sitting here and I'm sitting in what we call like a side sit, that's incorporating my core as forces of gravity are coming down. Some of us are a little lower toned, some of us are a little more rigid, and we find it a little bit hard to move up against gravity. But if I am W sitting, I'm hanging out and I am not incorporating core activation to strengthen me to move up against gravity. Again, why is core activation so important? It allows you to move briskly and efficiently against gravity to do higher functioning gross motor skills, okay? So that's one of the main reasons why W sitting is not good. So what would you say instead? I would do anything of one leg extended, one leg bent, two legs like a ring sit, like a tailor sit, but look at my trunk when I have to tailor sit. If I'm sitting like this and then I go here, what happens? I've got to activate my core, okay? Again, the W sitting, you're literally just hanging out like this, but this forces you to. And then again, the side sit, I've got to activate my core and make it strong against gravity. And especially with our developing children, we need to activate it and to allow progression and development.
Awesome.
Another question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. A lot of our families ask, and I've had the pleasure of working with Lisa for many, many years, and so many families ask about muscle tone. And Lisa explains it really, really well. Many of our kids are diagnosed with low tone, some high tone, but more often low tone. And the question is always, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Right. So, parents hear like, oh my gosh, my child has low muscle tone. Oh my gosh, my child has high muscle tone. That in it itself is descriptive, okay, of movement and how we position ourselves. Muscle tone, we all have muscle tone, so you don't need to be frightened of the word muscle tone, okay? We all have muscle tone, and muscle tone is controlled by the brain, okay? If I were to line up 100 people who are walking, talking, jumping, crawling, everything, across a room, okay, we would have average muscle tone, which is in the third. We have a little bit of lower muscle tone of normal. We have about a third of us with a little bit of higher muscle tone, all within the normal spectrum. Muscle tone basically is the resting activity of a muscle. A muscle at rest is the resting neural activity of a muscle controlled by the brain. When we get involved, us as therapists, with children who have a little bit of low muscle tone, a little bit of higher muscle tone, is that it's low enough to impact the rate of development, and it's high enough to impact the rate of development, okay? When there is a diagnosis of low muscle tone or high muscle tone, they're often seen by our physiatrist, Dr. D'Alessandro, to find out if there is a cause for the low muscle tone, if there's a cause for the high muscle tone, and that would be assessed and evaluated, and if there's further testing needed. Very often, it is a variety of within somewhat of a normal spectrum. But if it is not addressed and that the environment is not created to allow the child to progress through that muscle tone, then there can have some delays, okay? And very often, it is attempting to have muscle tone, once again, move up against gravity. We battle the forces of gravity 24/7, and it takes a certain amount of muscle tone to build muscle strength to move up against gravity, okay? And to do it for a period of time. So very often we can do it, but we fatigue so easily if we have a little bit of low muscle tone. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. We do have one more question that has come in. Any exercise to help with tiptoes walking inside? He has flat feet, but inside, barefoot/socks seems like a habit on tippy toes. What to do? So what should we do if our children are walking on tippy toes?
How old the child is, I'm wondering?
Let's see if we get an answer. How old? Let me reply to this. How old is? I know that a lot of little guys do this, maybe 2 or 3.
Yep.
If she responds, I'll give you that answer. Let's see. Any other? We got so many comments on how wonderful. 2.5.
2.5. Okay.
2.5.
So, number one, I would probably, there's lots of different reasons why children are up on their toes. Some of it very often is habitual. Some of it is possibly a little bit of stiffness within the ankle that can occur. Sometimes I can have a little bit of low muscle tone in my trunk, believe it or not, that allows me to position up against gravity quickly, and I do that by standing up on my toes. Typically, at 2.5, I would probably go to the pediatrician and just say to the pediatrician, hey, do you think I can be seen by a physical therapist so that we can work through this? And because there's some specific things very often that we can show you to allow the child to improve in weight bearing on what they call the entire foot. That being said, number one, I would talk to the pediatrician about possibly getting a referral for physical therapy so we can assess why, because there's so many reasons why a child's on the toe. But that being said, there are a couple little simple things that are very benign to try and to do on your own, okay? I might ask my handy dandy friend Allison to come here. So if I take my shoes off, if I'm understanding the question correctly, if I took my shoes off and I get into the house and I kind of get myself up on all fours, sometimes if I walk with my 2.5-year-old, and again, everything is core, and I just put a little bit of, not pressure, but input into the pelvis, very often I can bring the heels down, okay? So I might want to do something like, let's see, Allison, here's a throwing hand right here, okay? Great. And if my little Allison tends to go up on her toes, and I can say, come on, let's play ball. So I might want to just bring my hands right by her hips and just stabilize her pelvis. Good job. Good job, Allison. While she's throwing, okay, right there, while she's throwing. And I'm just making sure she stays, boom, on her heels, okay? And just just applying, again, when not sure where to put your hands, it's somewhere usually on the trunk. And just applying that downward input from the hips, knees, and ankles. Up, come on back, okay? She's up, come on back, and I'm gonna bring her back down, okay? With that also, some of the stretching that I had done prior can only help. Those single leg balances, some of those activities, those core strengthening activities of at the park, bending down, picking up a ball and throwing. It's very difficult to go down and pick up a ball if I'm on my toes. So that just bending down, picking up, squatting, and coming up and throwing is a neat way to incorporate the whole body and the core, and that may help also with bringing the heels down, okay? Look into the type of shoes, okay? Sometimes a little bit of a higher top, sneaker, a real supportive sneaker, may assist in reducing the tendency for going up on the toes. But I would probably go to the pediatrician to see if we can find the root of it, and then I can be a little bit more specific on what I would state. Okay?
Awesome. Wonderful. I know a lot of kids are tiptoeing around and we kind of hear in our heads like, oh, that's not a good thing.
Yep. Yep.
And those are great tips.
As long as you're able to, a lot of kids, a lot of little ones learn, they go up on their toes, they come down. As long as they're not, that is the way that they are walking. A lot of kids will walk and go up once in a while when they get excited and then come down. That's within a normal spectrum, okay? But usually, if it's a pattern of walking up on their toes, we want to make sure we try to find the root so that we can help a little bit further, okay?
Wonderful. All right, so that's all the questions that I've had pop in. I did want to make a comment. My kids are so energetic and have so much energy that when the spring comes, we can't wait to get outside with them. Something that we do, and I feel like it kind of hits on all of these, is we set up obstacle courses for them.
Wonderful.
They balance, they jump, they throw. Yep. It's just, and I didn't think I was as good as I am until I heard you. Like, how great am I? And so obstacle courses, moms.
Yep, obstacle courses, and it's a natural thing. Again, these things are simple things you can keep in the trunk of your car.
Yep.
Okay, stepping over things. Another one, and everybody laughs at me here at the office, I'm a lover of duct tape. I love duct tape. I love duct tape. I love duct tape. All different colors, that type of thing. If you have a basement tile floor or something like that. By the way, the colored duct tape doesn't damage the floor as much as the silver one. Just
good to know. That is good to know.
And if you were to take the duct tape, and we've got here at the office, we have carpet that already has its natural lines in it. You can put duct tape on the floor, and you can pretend it's a balance beam, and we can do some activities like this. You can duct tape on the floor and see if you can jump over, okay, jump back, single leg balancing on the duct tape, and you can incorporate your own little gym. And duct tape you can take on your little linoleum floor if you don't mind, and you can make like a ladder, okay, and kind of step into the ladder and step back, and so incorporate some of these things, and you can just go down and on your way out, on the way to the bus stop, okay, let's go through the ladder, boom, 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 and then we go to the bus stop. Again, just incorporating them functionally within your day.
Wonderful. All right, so that was amazing.